So welcome everyone to Mindset Pitfalls Holiday Edition. And I am certified health coach Jessee Baldwin.
And I'm certified health coach Mikaela O'Brien.
And we welcome you. We're so excited that you're here. And although we are health coaches, we want to make it perfectly clear that we are in no way affiliated with the Beck Institute or the Diet Trap Solution book. And I don't know if you were told when you were invited, but this webinar series is discussing and reviewing an amazing book called the Diet Trap Solution. And we're super excited to review this book with you. It has been amazing in our own lives and our own journeys and with our clients. And I see some of you holding up the book, so you got it already, and I love that. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to review all sorts of things. We're going to go over strategies, a foundational strategy to start. And then in the coming series, you're going to get tools in your hand that are going to help you make it through this holiday season so much better than you would have without this. So congratulations for coming on and getting the tools and support that you need. We do ask that all of you keep yourselves muted unless you're called upon, so you don't interrupt the recording, because there'll be a lot of people who are going to watch this in the recording and they want to be able to hear clearly. And so anyway, we're going to introduce the book right now that I'm speaking of. It's called The Diet Trap Solution. This is my copy. You can get it on Amazon. We encourage you to get the book to optimize your experience. If you think of if you were going to go to a book club and you didn't have the book, that wouldn't work so well. So we do encourage you to get the book. It's on Amazon. The paperback is $10. Interestingly enough, you can get the hardback for $8, and the ebook is $6. And we want to support the authors. They have done a lot of work with this, and it's the best way for you to fully integrate and get the full experience here. And so why don't we just introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about us as health coaches. So like I said, I'm Jessee Baldwin, and I'm also a dental hygienist for the last 15 years and stay-at-home mom. And I am someone who struggled with being overweight my entire life. And I didn't think I could do anything about it because I tried diet after diet and program after program and just couldn't keep the weight off and struggled. So I gave up. And about 3 years ago, you can see that picture of me on the left in the blue shirt. That's what I looked like when I gave up. And I had diabetes and sleep apnea and struggled with joint pain and back pain. And worse off, I wasn't being the kind of mom I wanted to be. My kids wanted to go play at the park. They wanted to go ride on roller coaster rides and have me teach them to ride their bikes. And I just couldn't do any of those things. And so the turning point for me, though, was one night, my oldest daughter, Katie, was crying in her room. And so I walked in there and I said, Katie, why are you crying? And she said, I don't want to tell you, Mommy. And so I sat on her bed beside her at over 370 pounds, collapsing it in the middle. And I said, no, you're crying. You need to tell me why. And she buried her head in me, and with tears, she said, Mommy, you're not healthy, and I'm scared. And that gripped my heart. You see, I'd become apathetic to all the things in my life with my weight, with having to buy bigger clothing sizes, with taking up more than one chair at church, with even being kicked off of roller coaster rides. But I was not okay with hurting my little girl. So I made her a promise that night that I would get healthy. So I reached out to a health coach, did a specific program that focused on creating healthy habits. And it changed my life. I lost 174 pounds, decided to become a health coach myself. I'm loving it, reaching out and helping other people. And that's the purpose of this webinar series. The studies show that 2/3 of Americans are overweight. Well, why is that? When we get into the book, the authors suggest it's because in order to lose weight and keep it off, not only do you need to learn to eat differently, but you also need to learn to think differently and deal with the sabotaging thoughts that come into your mind. And so that's what this whole webinar series is about. And we're super excited to have you here. And Coach Mikaela, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Okay, thanks, Jessee. That was great. So for me, that picture of me on the left there, that was about 4.5 years ago. And that's really where I had no hope. That was at the peak of my weight gain. And I had tried a lot of different programs and diets, and I couldn't stick to anything. Nothing worked for me. But it wasn't really until I went into the doctor, and the doctor told me that I had a life-threatening medical condition that was directly related to my weight gain. And so I went home defeated even more. I couldn't stick to anything. Nothing was working. I didn't know what to do until somebody recommended the program that actually Jessee did as well. And I started it, and it was amazing. It worked for me. I lost the weight. I ended up losing 82 pounds in about 6 months. But more than just the weight loss was what I learned through the program. It really is a healthy lifestyle program, and it's about learning how to change your habits. So, my whole family learned how to eat healthy and how to be active and how to be healthy. You know, we learned about sleep and stress and anxiety and all these different components of health. And one of those big pieces is creating a healthy mindset. And that's where this book comes in, because it's important, just like Jessee said, to change our relationship with food. And so learning, you know, how to look at food and what our pitfalls are and what our traps are and what some good tools and strategies are for dealing with that. That was really important to me. So I'm really excited that you guys are here and we can kind of go over some of these things together.
That's awesome, Mikaela. All right, so next, if you're listening on the phone, we're showing a slide that says on page 19 in the Diet Trap Solution book, there is a quiz. This quiz is super important. So if you think of Superman, all right, I'm a Superman fan, so that's what comes to my mind. What is the one thing that he can't go near? It's kryptonite. So you got to identify what is your kryptonite. This quiz is really helpful in helping you understand where your weak spots are. There is strength in learning your weaknesses, and that way you can develop strategies to overcome them. And so we encourage you to get the book once again and take the quiz and figure out where your weak spots are. So the quiz goes over the 8 eating traps that are laid out in the book. And Mikaela, why don't you go ahead and let them know what those 8 eating traps are and the weeks that we're going to be covering them.
Okay, so just like Jessee said, we're going to be covering 8 traps over the next 6 weeks. And this quiz is amazing. We really would recommend you get the book and you take the quiz, because it's really going to help you figure out what your specific traps are, maybe which ones you don't struggle with quite as much, and the ones that, you know, really you can pay attention to. So I actually want to read you just a couple questions from the quiz so you can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. So one of them from the quiz on page 20, it's in the emotional eating section. It says, authors say, how likely are you to think eating is the only thing that helps me feel better? Or if I'm upset, I deserve to eat. That's a really big one. So that's kind of some of the questions like, yep, that's me. Well, that may be an area that you struggle with. Another one is the holiday trap. So we're going to actually be covering this one next week specifically because of Thanksgiving. So one of the questions from this section, the authors say, how likely are you to see holiday parties as a diet-free zone? I hear that one all the time from my clients, like, oh, it's just one day, I want to go crazy. So if this is an issue for you, if this is one of your pitfalls, then don't miss next week. It's going to be really good. And if you can't make it, all of these will be recorded and posted. So these are the topics we'll be covering over these next 6 weeks.
All right, so laid out in the book is the foundation strategy checklist. This is what we're going to go over, the meat of our content tonight. This is supposed to be a daily checklist, things that you go over daily to keep you focused and centered on what your goals are. And Mikaela, do you have anything to add to that before we go over this?
No, that was great. Really just, this is something you can do daily, just like you said. You know, there's going to be a lot of great things to do here. So reading over this daily and really moving forward in your health journey is kind of the goal here. So the first one is to create and read your Vantages list. So your Vantages list is going to be a great tool for you if you're just starting a health journey, if you're in the middle, it doesn't really matter. But your Vantages list is basically your top 10 goals that you have for getting healthy. So if you can imagine where you want to be, maybe at your goal weight, what that feels like, things you're going to be able to do, what that means to you. We want you to write down your top 10 advantages, your top 10 goals for getting healthy. That's what your Vantages list is. And we recommend you put it next to your bed, you put it on your mirror, on your fridge, whatever, someplace where you'll see it. I do like to put it next to my bed so when I get up in the morning, I can read through it. And that's what's on the forefront of my mind. So when I'm confronted with temptations throughout the day, I'm still, I still remember what my goals are and what I really want. So we recommend you do that. And we actually have somebody who's going to be joining us, Barnett. She's actually a client of mine on the same program that Jessee and I are doing. She's been on plan now for about a month and she's 15 pounds down so far. So that's awesome. She's an RN and she had created her Vantages list when she started this program. So I'm really excited for her to be able to come on and share a little bit with you. So Dawn, are you there?
I am. Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
I actually just went through and kind of started on my list after Mikaela and I talked. And I would say, I guess my pivotal moment was I actually had some knee issues. I've had quite a few disabling knee issues, foot issues, and was a nurse and not critical care nurse, would float between the ICUs and the ER and just unfortunately not able to do my job anymore because of my weight and what it's done to my body. So in making my list, you'll see that that's kind of geared around a lot of that. But my number one thing is to start living again, and to be able to share my success, with other people as well as doing this. I'm in school for my master's to work on the health and wellness of healthcare workers. So this is a big thing for me, is I really feel like that's a huge area where we need a lot of help, is with the healthcare workers and taking care of themselves. Number two is to feel better, to hurt less, to move more without difficulty or feeling frustration. I'm very, very active and feel extremely frustrated that I can't do the things I used to be able to do. Number three, feelings of guilt over food. I'm tired of going and picking something up and thinking, oh, this is amazing, only to feel let down and frustrated and guilty because I chose to eat that, when in reality, it wasn't good for me anyway. Number four is a big thing, and that's to put off a total knee replacement. I actually just had a partial knee replacement done at the end of September. And it's inevitable. I'm going to have one, but I know that I don't want to be overweight and have to tackle the rehab of it, of a full. So that is definitely a big thing. Get this weight off. They said, I think it's for every 10 pounds that you have on your body is extra. It's actually 30 pounds on your knees. So when you think about 10 pounds, that's quite a bit, to get rid of off your body. Number five, I want to take a vacation and put a swimsuit on and feel comfortable, feel like I can walk around and not feel like I want to hide. Number six, have the confidence, smile, walk into a room and light up and just know that I feel really good and confident with who I am and where I'm at, and love myself. Number seven is to change my eating habits, not just for right now, but forever. I'm tired of doing, things momentarily. This is my plan forever. I want to be around for a long time. I still have a lot of life to live yet. Number eight, one of the big things, and I want to walk into my orthopedic surgeon's office and say, look what I did, because those were some of the first words that came out of his mouth, along with other people, is you've got to lose the weight if your joints are going to withstand this. So I want to be able to walk in there and say, thank you. And look what I've done. You gave me my life back. The other is I want to walk into my closet and be able to pick out clothes and not have to fuss and feel like they're tight and, oh, this doesn't look right. And I'm tired of that. I'm on to the new me. Number 10 is to be able to exercise. I have two big dogs who unfortunately have been kind of kicked to the wayside, not literally, but because I can't exercise with them. And they drive me crazy because they can't get the exercise, and it drives me crazy because I can't exercise them. So that's definitely on my list of top 10s. I really feel like this is a great, opportunity to dive into, who we are and what we have to offer to other people. So I feel honored to be part of this.
That's awesome, Dawn. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Oh, Jess, you're muted.
I'm following my own rules. It's okay. All right. So number 2. All right. This one is to sit down, eat slowly, and enjoy every bite. It's pretty much everything your mama always taught you, except for maybe also chew with your mouth closed. Actually, that's just something Coach Mikaela keeps telling me to do. Anyway, I believe what the authors are saying with this one is to create a state of mindfulness. So if you're standing up in the kitchen, walking around, meals being prepared, you're more likely to graze and eat. If you're sitting down and watching the television, you're not being as mindful of how much you're eating and putting into your mouth. So if you're actually sitting down, it's creating a state of mindfulness. And also, eat more slowly. This will make it more satisfying for you. Psychologically, it will take longer for you to eat, and you'll feel more satisfied. It takes a while for you to actually feel full, for that signal to get to your brain that you're full. And so you do need to slow down. One of the examples given in the book is, let's say you're eating a piece of apple pie. Literally, you can mindlessly eat through that in side bites. You're distracted, you're watching TV, you're doing something else. And it's going to create an appetite to go up and get another slice because you didn't really enjoy the first one. And so if you can slow it down and eat it maybe in 15 bites, you're going to be more satisfied by the end of it and have less calories. So this is a great daily tip and checklist.
Personally, I love the addition of chew with your mouth closed. I think we should put that on here. Okay, of course. So the third foundation strategy is to give yourself credit throughout the day. This is a really big one. I really like this one because a lot of times, when we're starting something new like this is a hard personal journey, and we can beat ourselves up really easily. We can, if we have something off plan, or if we don't do what we plan to do that day or whatever, we beat ourselves up for it. So mindless, being able to sit down and really think through, what did I do well today? I walked past that plate of brownies and I didn't have one at work, or I drove past the McDonald's and I didn't stop, or even I read my foundation strategies and I went through them. Anything like that, we want you to be giving yourself credit. It's very encouraging for you to be able to do that to yourself. And one thing that I like to talk to my clients about is, what would you do if you had a friend who was trying to lose weight and get healthy, and they maybe had a really hard day and they came to you? Would you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. You did horrible. Oh, you can't believe you fell off. We wouldn't do that, because why? Why wouldn't we do that? It wouldn't help them. It wouldn't encourage them. It wouldn't get them back on track. It would make them feel worse. So I don't know why we do this to ourselves, but we do, but it won't help us either. So the idea is, let's stop beating ourselves up. Let's start talking positive to ourselves. Positive self-talk is what we want. So instead of beating ourselves up, let's start giving ourselves credit for the things we are doing right. So I would actually love, if you guys want to find your chat window, for you guys to maybe type something that you've done well today. It can be you got all your water in, or you stayed on your plan, or whatever it is. What is something that you guys did well today that you want to give yourself credit for? I'm going to read a couple of them. And Jess, I think you're coloring on the board.
It's not me, I swear.
Seriously? Uh-oh. Do you know how to erase it?
Already tried. Can't figure it out. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. Whoever is writing on the board, we don't know how to erase it, so please don't write on the board. If you want to find your chat window and you want to type in the chat box, that would be awesome. Thank you for deleting it. Okay. Does anybody else? Okay. I see some coming in. So you drank 120 ounces of water, went for a walk, and ate on your plan. That's awesome, Dagmar. Great job. Anybody else?
And I've got a text from someone listening on the phone. Jen Grant says she drank 100 ounces of water today. And I also know that she went for a walk after she worked all day too. So good job, Jen.
That's awesome. Okay, Dawn just sent one in. She said she went grocery shopping and only bought things on plan. That's awesome. Great job. Okay, Jen Dickman sent in another one. She said, just finished winter menu planning. Great job. That's awesome. That's a really good idea. Anybody else want to sense? Okay, Christiane drank 120 ounces of water, went for a walk, and said no to ice cream. I love it. That's 3 in 1. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna move.
I love it. It feels good to be positive, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel good to be positive, to say something positive that you did rather than to dwell on the negative? That was awesome, Mikaela.
Okay, wait. I want to go back, David, and challenge you to find something. Even if you didn't stay in your plan, what is something that you did do well? I want you to find something. I think you can. I would love for you to think through as we move forward. I want to see something in there. Okay, we can keep going.
All right, next one. I love this one. All right, so this is basically the meat and potatoes, for lack of a better word, of the book. And so we're going to give you tools in your hands as we go through the webinar series, and it's really surrounded around this point, reminder cards. All right, so think of it this way. Think of Back to the Future, okay? Great Scott, Marty. If you could go back and say something to your 15-year-old self, what might it be? I mean, for me, I might say, Jessee, bet on the Dodgers in the 2017 World Series, something like that. Okay. Well, this reminder cards technique, it's brilliant. I love what the authors have done with this. It's the opposite of that, okay? So it's basically giving yourself a note in the present for your future self. And so what we're going to utilize with this throughout the webinar series are index cards. And so from the next series and on through the end, you're going to need to have a stack of index cards with you and a pen in order to get the most out of this. And so what the book's premise is about is, whenever you get in a situation of making a choice, there are sabotaging thoughts behind your choice, okay? And so if you can identify your sabotaging thoughts, dig deep sometimes and identify them, you can create a response or a reminder to each thought And you can have it with you as an index card you put on your fridge, or you have them in your pocket if you know you're going into a situation where you're going to need, some advice from yourself, really is what it is, to stay on plan. And so let's create a scenario here. Let's say that you're at work and your boss really dogged on you that day, or maybe a customer just laid into you unjustly, and you've had a really bad day. You get home, you feel terrible, and you want to go to the fridge and freezer and have some ice cream, okay? So knowing that this is an often scenario that happens for you in your line of work, you could write a reminder or response card to yourself for that and read it, okay? So something like this: if I eat when I'm upset, I'll only feel momentary comfort. Then I will have 3 problems: the original problem, then feeling bad and out of control, and then gaining weight. When I want to eat for emotional reasons, ask myself whether I want 1 problem or 3 problems. I love this. And so what we're going to be doing through the webinar series is utilizing the strategies in it to help you create your own response cards to your own sabotaging thoughts. So it's going to take a little bit of work and a little bit of thinking, but we're going to walk you through it in the coming weeks. So anyway, don't forget your index cards next week. Anything you want to add to that, Mikaela?
No, that was great. Very good. Okay, so for the next strategy, we have to weigh in weekly. We want you to do a weekly weigh-in. A lot of people like to weigh in daily, but the problem that I have with this is that our weight fluctuates from day to day. It can be anything from too much salt in your dinner the night before, maybe you didn't sleep very well, stress alone can change our weight. So weighing daily can really create more stress and anxiety because we're watching that scale, the 0.2, oh no. So I recommend you weigh yourself weekly instead so that you can see the overall trend and not freak out about the daily ups and downs. So yep, that's that one.
Perfect. All right. I love this next one. It's something you can practice every single day. Remember, this is a daily checklist, something you're supposed to go over every single day. And so the author speaks of building your resistance muscle. So every time you're tempted with something that is not in an alliance with your program, if you say no to it, you're building your resistance muscle, okay? But the reverse is true. If you get into your sabotaging thought of, oh, it's only just this once, it doesn't matter, I'll get back on track tomorrow, that becomes a very slippery slope, and you're building up your giving in muscle. And then that slides you right into one of the 8 traps, the getting off track trap. And that's a difficult place to be, and we've all been there. And so just keep in mind, read this in the morning, I'm to build my resistance muscle. And keep in mind that if you say no, it'll be really hard at first, but each time that you say no, it gets easier and easier, and then it doesn't become such a struggle. So you do have to think of it as a literal muscle. Build up your resistance muscle.
I love that analogy of the resistance muscle. It's good. Okay, so the 7th one is to complete your daily food journal. This can be done regardless of what program you're doing, or even if you're doing it on your own. We really do recommend that you track what you're eating, because a lot of times, what you add to your coffee, or maybe with your dinner, you're adding extra dressing or anything, condiments or whatever it is. If we're not really paying attention to serving sizes, this can really sneak up on us. So I recommend you keep a daily food journal and you're really tracking everything that's going in your mouth. It also creates more mindfulness, which can help. Not to mention, if you do hit a plateau, you can go back and look and see, like, maybe what was it that I ate that day, or, am I sabotaging myself in some way and not noticing? So this is a really big one. And with that, there's a lot of apps on your phone or even on your computer that you can do for this. There's one that a lot of my clients use. It's called MyFitnessPal, but I know there's a ton of other ones. So if you want to bring up your chat window again, I would love for you guys, if you do use one, or if you know of one that's really popular or works well, I'd love for you to stick it in the chat and kind of create a list of options for people. Maybe if somebody's looking for an app for their food journal. So awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll keep going now while you guys are typing.
Because we're cool like that. All right, so I love this next one. All right, creating accountability. You're gonna need support. You're gonna need an accountability partner. When you're doing such a personal journey such as this, you're gonna run into things. And for a lot of us who are emotional eaters, when you take away the crutch of dealing with things, food, and you put it in something that's more restrictive, things will come. You're gonna need that encouragement from someone. It can be a friend, it can be a brother, your sister, your spouse, it can be your mom or your dad. But just identify someone in your life who can be an accountability partner for you. And so let's bring someone on right now. We have a special guest who's going to join us. Oh, by the way, I should say this. Another great accountability partner is a health coach. Just thought I'd put that little plug in there right there. So we're going to go ahead and bring on our featured story also tonight. And this is a neat perspective because I'm bringing on someone who's not going to speak of what it's like to have an accountability partner. He's going to speak of what it's like to be someone's accountability partner. And so this is Brant O'Brien. Are you there, Brant?
You need to unmute yourself if you are.
I can find himself. Hold on. I'll unmute him. Hi, Brant. You're unmuted now, and you can speak. And if you've noticed, Brant's last name is the same as our coach, Mikaela. This is Mikaela's husband. And so, Brant, I wanted to ask you a couple questions, if you would share with us. Now, Coach Mikaela has lost over 80 pounds. It's an amazing feat. So in the beginning of this, you had to have had a conversation of her telling you what she needs from you. Would you describe what that conversation was like, and also let us know all the amazing things that you've done and the ways that you have supported her?
Well, the conversation was kind of interesting to begin with because I think the conversation really started at the doctor's office when we found out that basically she needed to lose weight or I was going to be a single parent. And the conversation was really heartbreaking at that point in time because it was one of those nothing works. And I've done this so many different times and I'm so mad at myself for where I am and what are we going to do? And that conversation was really hard, and it put everything moving forward into perspective of just how important the decisions were going to be that we were going to make. And so when she did finally find the program that worked for her, the conversations were really an education for me on what she could do and what she couldn't do. And it was really, at that point in time, it was my choice to move with that or to try to fight against it. The idea of having two little ones and myself just trying to make it through life without her did not seem worth anything in the house. And so that was when we changed everything from our clearing out the pantry to changing even the meals that I cooked, different things like that. And so it was a matter of educating me on what the program required. And so that was really, I think, the most important part.
That was powerful, Brant. I love what you said, that there was nothing in the house worth more than your wife's life. That was great. So, Brant, let me ask you a question. If there are people on the call tonight who don't have a supportive spouse, what would you suggest that they could do to help create some accountability for themselves?
First, I'm really sorry to hear that there are people out there that have unsupportive spouses, and it's really tough when you're spending so much time around those people, and I've seen people struggle with that. I've had clients that struggle with that. But I think that the biggest thing to remember is that sometimes the support of a spouse is able to be accomplished in other ways. And so one thing is even this community here that you're plugging into now, build relationships with those people. You're always going to be changed and shaped by the people that are closest to you. So if you are looking to be healthy, be around healthy people. And yes, Facebook works with that. Yes, your neighbors. Yes, your church or civic groups or whatever it would be. However, you need to be around those people. And I would also say look for people that are going to encourage you to be the best version of yourself. Not just people who are going to say that they want to help you or that they're there to try to encourage you in it, but then at the same time bring over 6 dozen donuts for you on a Saturday morning or something. Be those people that are the people that are most concerned about you. And so you can find them, and especially when you're losing weight and trying to be healthy, as you're building those habits, those first few months are so important. And so take the time to really find the people that care about you first. It sounds selfish, but you can't take care of others until you take care of yourself. So,
Brant, that was awesome. Basically, you just said find your tribe, find your health tribe. And that was great. I love all the tips you just gave to everyone. So thank you for sharing with us, Brant. Mm-hmm. All right, what's up next, Mikaela?
All right, the next one is to follow your eating plan. So again, you can be on a specific plan or you can be doing your own thing. But either way, every morning when you get up, know what your plan is for the day. So I recommend you figure out what you're going to be doing for dinner, what you're going to be doing for your snacks. And if you're going to be going out for dinner, maybe look up the restaurant online and figure out what you want to order so that you're prepared and you go with a plan. This last thing we want to do is at the end of the day, not have had a plan. And then we look back and think, oh, I totally had this, I had that, I shouldn't have had this. So make a plan and then follow it. And then track it with number 7.
All right, awesome. I love number 10. And you'll notice as we went through this top 10 list here, top 10, the list in the strategies in the book, that some of them, Mikaela and I have modified or changed from the authors just because it works best and fits best with our clients. We did make note of that on the slide. We want to make sure that we verbalize that as well. But I love number 10 because it just reinforces number 1. Think about your why. If you don't have a target, if you don't have a goal, you're going to hit it every time, right? And so this is a daily checklist. Make your top 10 advantages to getting healthy list. Make it tonight before the next webinar series, because you're going to use it every single day. It's part of your strategy when we get into this. And so post it somewhere where you'll see your top 10 list, put it on the fridge, put it on the bathroom mirror, anything like that. It just keeps it in the forefront of your mind. So when you are faced with those choices, you're going to be thinking, okay, do I want a corn dog right now? Or maybe it's more important that I look good at my sister's wedding. And so just keeping it in the forefront of your mind is so important with that. All right, what's up next, Mick?
All right, so what are your top 10 advantages to getting healthy? We would love if you guys wanted to find that chat window again and maybe type in, one of your top 10 advantages, anything that maybe resonated with you from listening to Dawn's or some of the other examples that we gave. But what is something that really stands out to you? Again, the chat window would be preferable instead of the screen if possible. But we'd love to hear some things that you are really working toward with your health journey.
I love the one that Dagmar just said, and she just said she wants to be free of diabetes. And I know I didn't mention that in my story, but I am no longer diabetic and also no longer have sleep apnea. But that was awesome, Dagmar. You go, girl.
Jessee, you typed one yourself, being authentic in your health journey. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. As a health coach, you've got clients looking to you and you want to be authentic in it.
Yep.
Ooh, I like Tamara's. Tamara wants to not be on so much high blood pressure pills. It's a good one. I love how you're sharing these. Oh, Tommy's is great. Coach Mikaela, read Tommy's.
It says, in a bikini on my 55th birthday. That's awesome. It's a really good one.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
And David's top reason is he suffers with sleep apnea and fatigue. I totally get what that's like. So you just keep moving forward, buddy. It's going to get better.
Brant said his is moving health more into his children. My children. That's a good one.
She agrees with that.
There's one
All right,
more.
so let's look forward. Oh, one more? Okay.
One more. Do you want me to read it? Okay, Jen
Yeah,
wrote, want to be able to focus on your health. That is a fantastic one.
Love it. All right. So looking forward to next week. Next week is Thanksgiving, so we're not going to be meeting on Thursday. We're going to meet on Tuesday, November 21st. And a couple things to remember. Number one, if you can get it, get your book. And number two, get your second index cards, because this is going to be amazing. We're going to go over chapter 2 in the book of how to create your escape plan. And there's specific strategies we're going to uncover. And the trap we're going to go over next week is the holiday trap. We figured it was fitting because of Thanksgiving. So anyway, we're super excited to go over this with you. You're actually going to sit down in the next webinar. We'll help you identify what sabotaging thoughts are and share with us. And we're going to help you create your own response cards to your sabotaging thoughts. You're going to have tools in your hand. So we're super excited that you've joined us. We're looking forward to you joining us next time. And we want to invite you to stay on for about 15 minutes for a debrief and a question and answer time. You'll be able to ask questions of myself or Coach Mikaela or either of our guests too. You can ask a question of Dawn or Brant. And the way we're going to do this is we want everyone to stay muted. And there's a little button that says raise hand. You can find it on your screen. And so if you do have a question, raise your little digital hand and Coach Mikaela will find you out and she'll unmute you and invite you to speak. And we're so glad that you have joined us. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording now. I do recommend that you switch, for the best experience, switch yourself to gallery view so you can see everybody. Let me stop recording.
Thank you, guys.